Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And this is something that was not supposed to be its own video. So this is the comparison between the PodMic USB and 25 different microphones. My wife Heather is here to help me out because it's nice to have not just my voice on a microphone, it's nice to have a female voice. And this was supposed to be a small segment in the PodMic review, the PodMic USB full review. But we've been recording for over an hour and a half at this point, and we went through a whole lot of microphones, and it only made sense for this to be its own separate video. So
we're recording at the end of all this, and it should be its own video. Right. But it's been super fun, so stay tuned for a fun time.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to give you some context before we dive into this. If you want all of the details and the specs on the PodMic USB, check out the full review, which I will link to at the end of this video in the description, probably on a card somewhere up in this general direction, and probably in a pinned comment as well. So with that being said, let's take it away to the comparison. Welcome to the comparison version of this video, and I have my awesome wife Heather here, who has volunteered to dedicate a lot of time to testing 25 microphones today. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
And this will not be in the way the whole time. What happened, though, was I was only going to do like 4 or 5 microphones, and then I did a YouTube community post asking what people wanted to see the PodMic USB compared to, and I couldn't include every request, but I included 25 microphones that I was able to have access to that I could include. And then I also got a few requests to include a female voice. So that is what Heather is here for. And that's what we're going to dive into. It is going to be long and lengthy. So don't be shy about using chapter markers to skip to the parts that are most relevant and most interesting to you. So the way that each comparison will work is I will start with the PodMic USB, and then we will jump to another microphone, and then I'll do a test into that microphone, and Heather will do a test into that microphone. And to save me some filming and editing time, instead of me saying, we're back on the PodMic USB 25 separate times, I'm going to say it once and insert that same clip over and over again. So let's record that right now. Ready? And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
Oh, and then there is one thing I want to do before we start this, and I've been waiting to do this. I need a second camera, a fifth camera, actually. We're recording everything into the Rodecaster Duo, but what you can see here is I have not peeled off the sticker.
Wow.
We have all these microphones. So let's see how the PodMic USB handles some ASMR.
Here we go.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I think it's going to be very satisfying.
I heard it.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. So the first mic we are trying out is the Shure MV7, one of the more direct competitors to the PodMic USB because it is an XLR USB combo mic. It does have an MSRP of $249, so it is $50 more expensive than the PodMic USB, but it has a decent array of physical controls, some nice I/O ports in the back, and a really great software application to help you process the audio if you want to when using it in USB mode. I do have one of the Shure SM7B windscreens on it because it's susceptible to plosives, so that's really the only downside I think to this microphone, other than that the USB port is micro USB instead of USB-C, which is weird. The Shure MV7 is also your main microphone. So this is me on the Shure MV7.
And this is me on the Shure MV7. This is my studio mic. This is my go-to mic. This is the one that I use for all my video and audio needs, and I love it. Well, it's not this particular one. Mine's a custom one, yes, because I got to get that purple situation. But anyway, this is the Shure MV7.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And now this is me on the Samson Q9u, another XLR USB combo mic, but this one has an MSRP of $129. They actually lowered the price since its release. And while it does have it has USB-C, headphone output, and it has a mute switch, which I just learned after 2 years of having this microphone, that the mute switch actually works in XLR mode. So if I'm talking and I say something, and now you can hear what I'm saying. It sounded a little fuzzy there. But anyway, this is the Samson Q9u at a really good price, honestly. It's a pretty darn heavy-duty microphone.
And this is me on the Samson Q9u. I like how it sounds. It sounds really cool.
I think you used this in your studio for a while.
I did. I didn't like it though because it's too big. I think it's too it's just too big. But anyway, this is what I sound like. And I was gonna do this whole thing. I'll just talk about it right now. Yeah, I was gonna do this whole thing because we have 25 mic tests, and Tom was like, "Oh, you could tell jokes," which that's Tom. That's not me. But I was like, "Oh, I will come up with 90s things that we can reminisce." So I don't know. I'm debating whether to still do it or not. We're on mic 2. We got a long way to go.
YOLO, you can mix and match. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
And this is me on the Samson Q2u, and all of these XLR USB combo mics that we're testing today are being done via XLR, but the sound quality would be the same via USB. This is the Samson Q2u. This is the second least expensive microphone that we'll be testing today, but the cheapest one that I would actually recommend. And you'll know what I mean when we get to the cheapest one later on.
Oh, I know.
The Q2u, though, is really cool because the MSRP is $69. And with that, you get the microphone, which is XLR and USB, and it has headphone output, and it has good sound quality, and it comes with a cable and a mic stand and a little tripod, everything that you really need to get started. The only downside to it that I feel right now is that it has mini USB, the really, really old USB connector. So it's even more outdated than something on the MV7 would be, but this has also been around for a long time. So this is the Samson Q2u, which is now my Q2u to try it.
Okay, so the first thing that I was going to talk about, this one fascinates me because this is pre-social media, this is pre-internet, but for some reason I don't know if it was a global phenomenon, but it was definitely, I think, I think it was an American phenomenon, which is bizarre because there was no internet. So I don't understand how things can go viral pre-internet.
Okay.
But let's talk about the S.
Oh.
How did every elementary school kid in the 90s know to draw this S in a very specific way? It wasn't on any TV show.
This S right here.
What S?
Well, I'll put it in.
Oh. Because it's not something that went viral. The Baby Shark song. Everyone knows what that is, but that's because we've all seen the video or whatever.
Hold that thought. This is the Samson Q2u. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Rode NT1 5th generation, which has an MSRP of $249, so the same as the Shure MV7. And I did a whole video on this microphone. I love the sound of this microphone. It's got 32-bit float audio when you use it in USB mode. It's got USB-C, but it has no other USB physical functionality. You have no mute switch, no LEDs, no headphone outputs, no gain dial, nothing. You can do all of the Rode DSP, the signal processing through the applications, but nothing physical on the microphone itself, which is really my only complaint because otherwise I think this is a great microphone. And back to the S that we were mentioning before, all that S we were talking about, I remember looking up the history of it.
Oh, wow.
And I know it dated back, I think it dated back to the 1960s, but I don't remember the origin. I always associated it with the clothing brand Stussy as a kid.
Why? It's not associated with that at all, I don't think.
I thought it was. I thought that was their logo. I think they had shirts that had it on it.
No, I don't think so. Well, anyway. Okay,
so
so this is me talking to this. And the next thing I'm going to ask you is, do you remember Stickly's address?
I don't, but I know you do.
No, I don't.
Oh,
I thought for sure you would.
New York 10001 or something.
Yeah. Tom has a very weird memory, so I thought for sure you had that one.
I love Stickly.
Well, someone's going to know the address, and it's going to be in the comment section.
Yeah. If you know Stickly's address, drop it in the comments below, and you will not win a prize. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And it would not be a proper PodMic USB comparison without comparing it to the original PodMic, which even though they do have that different sound profile, I think that they sound very similar overall. The biggest difference, of course, being that this has an MSRP of $99, so it is 50% the price of the PodMic USB.
Did you know? Well, I know you know this, but in the 90s, you could check the remaining life on batteries by squeezing the heck out of them.
On some batteries.
On some batteries, yeah. I'm pretty sure Duracell and the Rabbit one.
The little gauge.
Yeah, but you had to squeeze. I remember squeezing them so hard where you start sweating and then your fingers would slip. But for some reason that didn't stick around very long.
PodMic. You use
this is the PodMic, yes.
Yeah, you used this for a while, but you stopped.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like how it sounds.
Okay.
I don't know. It actually sounds really nice right now. But when you did it, I was like, oh yeah, that's why I don't use that one anymore.
See, different voices on different mics. Yeah, this is the original pod mic. It was kind of my first real mic other than the Shure SM57 that I got like 20 years ago. And when you go from not having any kind of real mic to the pod mic, it's a world of difference. And there are some voices that it sounds phenomenal on. But as time went on, I stopped liking the sound of this as much. The thing I've learned about the pod mic is it's a mic that's made to be EQ'd. And I, especially when this was my only mic, didn't have any real EQ knowledge or skills. And so I wasn't super happy with just the bass sound of it because there wasn't enough bass in the sound of it. And it's a mic that if you get it, you probably need to EQ it. And then it can sound really decent. Of course, the build quality is absolutely fantastic. And wait, what was the thing you talked about?
The batteries.
The batteries. I do remember my dad told me you can test, when I was like 7, you could test 9-volt batteries by licking them. And if you put the end on your tongue, don't try that at home because it's not fun. He laughed a lot though. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
And I think it's now officially signed into law that if you do a mic comparison, you have to include the Shure SM7B, which is the microphone that I'm using right now. This is an MSRP of $399. So twice the price of the PodMic USB, no USB functionality, but of course a many decades long reputation, and one of the most underrated things I think about the SM7B, maybe two of them. One, it's not at all susceptible to plosives. It does a great job of rejecting them, but also as we've been hand holding all these microphones, you probably notice this does not pick up handling noise at all. It has such good internal shock rejection. This is a loose metal part, but if I'm not doing that, I can move this around and it doesn't have that bumpy, wobbly, rumbly sound. So this is the Shure SM7B.
And this is me on the Shure SM7B. Oh, it really does sound very nice. I like how this one sounds.
Good mic.
I'm just a plug and play. I don't really have a lot of preferences when it comes to audio, but this one really does sound lovely.
It's a good mic.
Yes. Okay. So back in the day, did you know that we used to eat ice cream out of these cups and they came with a wooden spoon?
Yeah.
And it actually tasted like it added a wooden flavor to the ice cream, but it was so good.
And would you believe my school for a while had milk in a bag?
No.
And it was really bad. You had to push the bag and then put the straw in. And they literally did a whole video assembly showing us how to properly hold the straw to put it in the bag, because if you did it wrong, it would shoot milk everywhere, which by doing that, they just instructed all these elementary school kids how to shoot milk everywhere. And that's what happened. This is the Shure SM7B. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Rode Procaster, which is older than the original PodMic. And I know it's kind of unfair to do this, but I feel like this is the closest Rode mic to the SM7B, although it is significantly less expensive with an MSRP of $229. So this is $30 more expensive than the PodMic USB. It has no USB functionality, although the mic that I don't have right now, the Rode XDM100 USB microphone, is sort of ish a USB version of this, USB only version of this. But this is the Rode Procaster, which I think is a pretty awesome sounding microphone. Really the only downside I have to the Procaster personally is that it's really a big microphone. It's huge and heavy, and sometimes that makes it difficult to mount.
Oh, this is way heavy.
Yeah. And that's not
I could do bicep curls with this.
Yeah, you get ripped.
And speaking of milk, can we talk about Got Milk?
Oh, yeah.
What was the obsession with this campaign? Because it's so weird, because it was all very health focused, but now there are people who don't drink milk at all, and it's kind of okay, so we were forcing kids to drink milk and making it seem like that was the thing to do, and now no one does it, and everything is fine.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, yes.
But that wasn't for a brand of milk. That was just for
the milk industry in general.
Yeah. And so it would be
because I remember
the milk industry paid for it.
Well, because the marketing on this is fabulous, because I remember they would get celebrities to do the pictures, and I remember ripping out Britney Spears' one and hanging it on my wall because I thought it was so cool. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna drink milk like Britney. It totally worked.
Do you remember all of the other knockoff merchandise of Got Blank? It's almost like
Got Rice.
It's
sorry, I'm Asian. It was a huge thing.
All right, this is the Rode Procaster. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB.
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
And this is the blue Sona, another definite SM7B competitor, XLR only microphone. It does have a less expensive price tag at $349, so it's $50 less than the SM7B, but way more expensive than the PodMic USB. And the thing, I did a whole video about this. I really like this microphone. I think it's underrated, but the thing that's really cool about it, it's got a built-in booster. So if you're not using something like a Rodecaster that has a ton of built-in gain, and if you've ever used the SM7B where you oftentimes need a cloud lifter or a booster, you don't need that with this because it has one built in, but that does mean you need to run it on phantom power, even though it is a dynamic microphone. This is the blue Sona, although I think blue just now got fully blown away and absorbed by Logitech, so I guess this is just like the Logitech Sona now. I don't know, but maybe this is more collectible because it's pre that.
Hello. Oh, this one's light, especially compared to that last one.
I love the design of this. It feels so nice. I like the way it feels.
Well, this is a very, I'm looking at the monitor here. This is a very Tom style shape and colors.
These pop off, and it's just magnetic. So it comes with a black and a red one, and supposedly they were going to put other ones on it. But I really like that by default.
Well, yeah, if they had Tombuck blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you can provide insight into this, because I don't know how it worked back then, where I don't know, whoever is in charge of like the Department of Education, let's say, they told teachers these are the tools that you're going to be using to like teach. But I remember going from chalkboard, okay, that was a thing, to whiteboard. Well, actually, in between that was the projector.
Right.
And I'm very confused about the projector, because I remember as a kid, I was like, this actually isn't this isn't like saving time or space and then if anything in science class or math class, I felt like if you use the chalkboard, you could fit more in, because the teacher would write really big on the little transparency and then they would run out of room. And now it's like we couldn't see the whole, like, show your work. But anyway. So projectors.
I can project a little bit of insight as a former teacher onto the projector. One, super satisfying, I thought, when you had a teacher with nice writing and they would write really small detailed stuff on the projector. Oh, it was so satisfying to me. And from a teacher's point of view, the benefit to that is you don't have to write really big. You don't have to deal with the movement and like the physicality of a bigger chalk or whiteboard. And you can either just use transparencies or you can print out things that are all like paper size, and you can save them. You can switch them out easily. The chalkboard, once you erase it, it's gone, but you can switch between transparencies. So there's definitely, I think, a lot of benefit to the overhead projector. Everyone uses digital versions of that now, yeah, but I don't know. It's just a bulb and some glass, like. Bring it back. All right, this is the Logitech Blue Sona. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Shure SM57 with a windscreen on it, because otherwise it's just plosive town. But that's because this is really designed for instruments and things for the most part, but you can put a windscreen on it. It is a $99 microphone. This was my first actual real microphone. I bought this exact one back in 2005, so it's been around for a while. Still works great. It was still $99 back then, still $99 now. Fun fact, though, about the Shure SM57, it has been one of, if not the official microphone of U.S. presidents for 30 or 40 years or more. So a lot of times when you see the president speaking, there's usually two of these on the podium, like a main one and a backup one, which is also, funner fact, where I got the idea to use these 90-degree adapters, because instead of having cables come out like this, because it looks messy, they usually have a 90-degree adapter plugged into the presidential ones, and then the cables go down. It looks all very neat and organized. So this is the Shure SM57, traditionally an instrument microphone, but also a very capable vocal microphone.
I think a lot of kids in the 90s spent a lot of time at the mall because there was nothing else to do. Yeah. Do you, or did you, have this store? I spent so much time in this store. Wonders. Oh my God! How did you know? That's what I was going to say. What the heck?
Well, that's why we're married. But yeah, that's the store you would go to.
I thought for sure you were going to say Suncoast, whatever it was.
Oh, I remember Suncoast.
Yeah, like the movie one. Yeah, no. Natural Wonders Order. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even think I've ever bought anything from there.
No, nobody did. That's why they're not in business anymore. That was the store you would go to touch everything and not buy anything because you were 12 and you had no money.
How did you know? Straight up, I did not go over this list with Tom before I started this. I can't you.
We're in sync. What can I say? Anyway. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. This next microphone is kind of a weird one. We're not holding one. It is boomed out of frame, and that is the Sennheiser MKH50, which this might not be the most fair comparison because it is boomed so far out of frame, but it's not a microphone that is at all meant to be held and talked into. It's a mic that's meant to be... That's what it is. It's boomed out of frame. It's also the most expensive microphone, and despite all this, it's the one that I use in most of my videos. Pretty much anytime you don't see a microphone in the frame, it's the Sennheiser MKH50. It has an MSRP of $1,200. So why am I comparing that to the PodMic USB? Because I wanted to. So anyway, this is the MKH50 on my voice.
And this is the MKH50 on my voice. And wait, hold on. Do you remember like dissolvable drinks? Like Country Time lemonade and like
like sugar water basically.
Yeah, like you took powder and you like stirred it in water and it was like super satisfying to watch it blend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And very unhealthy.
Yeah.
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 I do remember those. I have a follow-up to that. This is a Sennheiser MKH50. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Shure Super 55. I feel like I can confidently say this is the coolest looking microphone here. XLR only microphone. Shure has made this Unidyne series of microphones since like the 1950s. Did a whole video about it. They have a few different versions of this. I really like the Super 55, not just because it has a blue pop filter inside, but because it is a super cardioid pickup pattern, which means it's fairly directional, so you kind of need to be right in front of it for it to sound good, which I really like. So it's better if you're in an environment where you want to kind of, not pick up everything in the room. The MSRP, though, is $249. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is the look of this mic trademarked? Like the Louboutin, like red bottom shoe?
I think this exact look is trademarked, but there are really similar other microphones out there.
I guess my question is, if I see this, because I feel like we've seen it on TV shows and like movies and stuff. Is it this one?
For the most part, yeah. You can usually tell it's Shure because it does have a little S in the front, and that's the Shure logo. If it's got a gray windscreen, it's probably the 55 SH2, and if it's got a blue, it's the Super 55. But it is a super, super cool microphone. My follow-up to your powdered drink thing was, I don't know if this is a 90s thing or not, but Fun Dip.
Oh, gosh. Look, if the ice cream truck still drove around, 1,000% I'd get a Fun Dip.
Now,
that's who I bought it from.
When it comes to Fun Dip, do you prefer the dip or the stick?
The stick.
Yeah, 100%. I would
but actually, I was going to say it like, duh, who didn't? But actually, there was a divide.
Yeah, no, it's weird. So, below Stickly's address in the comments, let us know, do you prefer dip or stick? Anyway.
Stick, 1,000%.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Earthworks ETHOS, which is one of my all-time favorite microphones. It is a condenser, and it does have an MSRP of $399, same as the SM7B, but its original MSRP was like $799 or something, and it got cut down like a year ago or so at the time we're recording this. The reason I like this microphone so much, and what's a little tricky in doing mic tests like this, almost every microphone sounds amazing when you do kind of a short sample with it. But when it comes to long form recordings, that's when you can start getting fatigue. And I think that's why you got tired of the PodMic, was like when you're plugging it in and testing it, it sounded amazing, but when you're listening to it for an hour or more on a podcast, with some voices and with some EQ, it started to get fatiguing. And I remember you saying, like,
it was like a ringing almost.
Your ears felt weird. The ETHOS, to me, is one of the least fatiguing microphones I've ever used. It's a great microphone for anything, but it's a great long form mic if you do streams and podcasts that are a really long time. This is, to me, one of the least likely microphones to fatigue your listeners' ears. So this is the Earthworks ETHOS.
Okay, so I'm curious if we're actually going to have the same answer for this.
Okay.
And we're going to try to say it at the exact same time.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. What is the biggest news story that defined the 90s?
The 90s. Oh,
yes.
God.
Like, what's the one thing that you'd be like, that's the thing? Okay. So we're going to see it on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Bill
Princess
Clinton.
Diana. I was actually going to go with OJ.
Oh, man. The 90s were kind of crazy when you think about it.
We were too young to understand what happened.
I didn't know what was happening. I was like, what does is mean? And then just sitting around for a while thinking about it.
Wow.
I think a microphone just got delivered.
There's a person at the front door. Yeah,
that's perfect because I've been waiting for that one. So we'll use the Sennheiser MKH50. I literally got this delivered right now because I ordered it yesterday after people recommended it. It's not sponsored by Max. Did you know HBO Max is not called HBO Max anymore?
Yes.
That's so stupid. Anyway, it is. I've never owned this microphone. The Shure SM58. One of just the most classic microphones that anyone who uses microphones should probably have. Never had one before. Had them at work, but I've never had one of my own. So we had the SM57. This is well, let's plug it in and we'll talk about it. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
This is still warm from the delivery truck, but it is the Shure SM58. It has an MSRP of $99. Exactly the same as the SM57. In fact, they have very, very similar sound qualities. The biggest difference being that this one is really designed for vocal applications. And this is the Shure SM57 with a windscreen on it because otherwise it's just plosive town. Obviously, the Samson Q2u took a few design cues from the SM58, but it's a tried and true design. There are a few different variations you can get, and the reason it's a little more adaptable to vocals is because of the, there's a built-in pop filter, built-in mesh grill windscreen right here, so you have fewer plosives. It's very, very durable. You see these on stage all the time. This is the Shure SM58.
Another thing that was great marketing, antenna toppers.
Oh my God, the Jack in the Box.
The Jack in the Box ones. That's the one that everyone remembers.
Yeah,
because it was perfect. Oh yeah, who doesn't want to customize that if you could? And Jack's head was perfect. It was like such a good idea. And you know what? I don't even remember when cars stopped having antennas. It didn't even occur to me.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Earthworks ICON, which is obviously very similar in a lot of ways to the Ethos, but has an entirely different sound profile. And this is the Earthworks ETHOS, which is one of my all-time favorite microphones. This is an MSRP of $499. This is an XLR only one, but they actually do have, for slightly a less expensive price, a USB only version of this. So you can get this in XLR or USB, but not as a combo microphone. So this is the Earthworks ICON.
Okay, so this morning in the car when we were driving home from the gym, Tom told me about this thing that I did not know about.
It's real.
Okay, well, people in the comments can tell me whether they can, say that it happened to them as well. But Tom told me that there are secret tracks on CDs. And I was like, no, they're not. And he's like, well, you just never knew.
You missed out on all the secret tracks on your CDs.
Yeah, no, because I know for a fact that I would put my stereo thing on repeat when it got to the end of, just repeat the whole CD. And there was no secret track. Mind you, I was also listening to Backstreet Boys and Britney and lots of pop. Maybe they didn't have secret tracks. But Tom is like, no, that was the thing.
That was very much a thing.
He was like, don't you hate it when the secret track, something, something? So I was like, what are you talking about, secret track?
When it has 20 minutes of silence before the song begins? Anyway.
I feel like I'm missing out on a whole
You are missing out.
Thing.
I bet you bands and singers you liked had secret tracks that you missed out on.
I don't know. I also didn't have that many CDs, so maybe.
That could be why too. All right, this is the Earthworks ICON. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the ElectroVoice RE20. I do have a pop filter on it, which I think is necessary, and I didn't want to take it off. So you can get this from a website called BSW, Broadcast Supply Worldwide, I think is what it is. It's kind of expensive, but it's a great pop filter. Also fits on the Rode Procaster. This, the RE20, has an MSRP of $449 and actually predates the SM7B. This is probably I would say maybe the oldest production model microphone that I have. This specific one is not old, but the RE20 in general, this is just a black version. Usually it comes in a slightly different color, but also a very, very popular, very, very legendary microphone. And I did, speaking of antenna toppers, I didn't have a car when they were super popular, but I had several Jack in the Box ones, and I had the Millennium, the Y2K Jack in the Box one where he had a little party hat and a noise blower. Yeah. And I just had them. I probably still have it in a box somewhere. The thing I don't know when antennas disappeared. I had a 2001 Corolla, and then I had a 2009 Corolla, and at some point between those, car antennas went away.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what I'd love to watch a video essay on?
What?
Pogs.
Oh.
Pogs were fascinating because it wasn't a game that you could go to like Target or Kmart or whatever and buy with instructions. It was like you go to, I remember going to like IHOP or Denny's or something, and they just had a couple Pogs at the counter.
Yeah,
and
Del
then
Taco Pogs.
Yeah, you would just go around the mall, grab the Pogs, and like for some reason kids just knew how to play this. And then I remember it got banned because it started. Well, no, because it was like gambling. Oh. Because now it's like poker chips, you know? Yeah.
I was going to ask you, did you actually play Pogs or just collect them? Because most of the kids I knew collected them, but no one knew how to actually play it. But we had like books of Pogs and tubes of Pogs and things.
Well, like I would play, but just not for keeps because I didn't want to lose my Pogs.
Oh yeah, no way. Are you kidding? I worked so hard. I wish I still had my Pogs. I'm so sad now. Some of them were so cool.
But I mean, like, talk about a marketing phenomenon. If you had someone like IHOP, it's just an understood thing that we're gonna give out for free, and kids know what to do. How bizarre.
Yeah. Or Alf back in Pog form.
I got some cool Pogs. Elf Pogs. Remember Elf? He's back. In pod form.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Neewer NW800, the least expensive microphone in this lineup with a price of $22-ish. You can't really find the MSRP on it. I know it looks like I'm talking into it backwards, but I've actually taken this apart to... Yeah, I'm talking into it correctly. And this is just what it sounds like. This NW800 microphone is rebranded under a bunch of different brands, and honestly, I never like to say something is bad or sounds. This microphone is awful, and the reason I wanted to include it is it's hilarious, but also you just asked me, do people actually buy this microphone? It is a condenser microphone, and they do because it looks pretty. And it's very inexpensive. So when you go to a website and you shop for microphones and you search by price, low to high or whatever, and you just see, hey, this seems like a decent one at a decent price. How much better could a $70 or a $100 microphone be? The answer is a lot better. And this is the Shure SM57 with a windscreen on it because otherwise it's just plosive town. The thing about the NW800 is I've seen videos and listened to stuff where people have them and they sound significantly better than mine. Of course, we're not doing any EQ right now. All these other microphones, if you buy one, it's going to sound the same as mine. Like the consistency is phenomenal. Whereas this, some of them might sound better than others. Like the quality control, the consistency, the manufacturing, it's abysmal. But it's the NW800.
I turned down my headphones because I feel like it hurts my ears.
You sound like you're in a drive-thru.
Well, speaking of drive-thru.
Oh, perfect.
Speaking of drive-thru. So Tom's favorite restaurant ever is In-N-Out.
Yeah.
It has been for your whole life.
4 years old.
Since he was 4 years old. That actually, I have a new appreciation for In-N-Out. And, I think as an adult, I've had this appreciation for In-N-Out because I do think it tastes the best. However, as a kid, I thought it sucked because they didn't have a play place.
Oh.
And I was like, who wants to go to In-N-Out?
Hold that thought, because I want to get on a better microphone to discuss this. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Lewitt LCT240 Pro, one of my all-time favorite microphones, one of my favorite sounding microphones, and also quite affordable with a newly adjusted MSRP of $119.
Oh, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend, it comes with a windscreen, but I definitely recommend the shock mount and pop filter. So realistically, you're getting closer to maybe 170 by the time all is said and done. But gosh, this is such an awesome microphone. It's XLR only as a condenser, but if you like the way that it sounds, I don't know if it's the exact same capsule, but Lewitt does, I believe, make the capsules that go in the Elgato microphones, like the Elgato Wave USB microphones. So if you want a USB mic and you like those Elgato mics and you like the way they sound, I don't have one here. The similar or the same capsules are in there. Lewitt makes absolutely amazing stuff. So going back to restaurants and play places, yes, In-N-Out my favorite. Play places, though, definitely a big thing. And then I didn't even realize that play places just disappeared. It's just like the kids don't have that joy of high calories and high energy. You burn in the calories. It's not. It's it's basically health food at that point.
But then especially post-pandemic, it's like, gosh, what a breeding ground for
that
all
will get
of
your
the bacteria.
immune system super strong.
But yeah, see, because I always wondered why I didn't like In-N-Out as a kid. I'll tell you why. That's why. Because they didn't even have like a restaurant. It was literally the drive-through. It was just the In-N-Out. At least the ones near me.
So I know In-N-Out is a U.S. only. It's a West Coast U.S. thing.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll hold that thought. Hold that thought.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I noticed that you don't have a mic here that I feel like a lot of people use, and I'm wondering why.
Oh, I wonder which one that is.
The Blue Yeti.
Oh, we can use it on the U.S. We'll use it.
Well, I mean, I don't care. There's a reason why you picked this list. I'm wondering why you wouldn't have put that.
That'll be mic number 26.
Is that because most of the people that watch your channel don't use the Blue Yeti?
It's because I took my Blue Yeti apart and it doesn't sound right anymore.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering what the what the intention behind excluding.
We'll include it. Or actually, you have your Blue Yeti, which sounds good. Let's do that one. The thing I wanted to bring up, though, In-N-Out, U.S. West Coast restaurant. And if you're also in the U.S., the thing that pops up is the debate, Five Guys versus In-N-Out. Despite the fact that they're burger places with red and white as their color scheme, I don't think it's really fair to compare them. Five Guys has a bigger menu than In-N-Out.
So mad here.
Sorry, it's just the thing. Price-wise, they're also not... Five Guys is so much more expensive than In-N-Out is. In-N-Out is still very, very affordable. Like we could eat there and get burgers and fries and drinks and stuff for under $20 for both of us. Probably like, I don't know, $15 to $17. Five Guys, that's going to be $30 or more. And also a great restaurant, also something that's delicious. But I feel like price category wise and menu breadth, I might be losing.
I didn't realize this was a thing that you wanted to get out.
A fog descended and I lost track of everything else. Anyway, this is the Lewitt LCT240 Pro. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
And this is the Lewitt LCT440 Pure, the bigger sibling to the 240 Pro. Literally, because the biggest difference is the capsule is different. It is a much larger capsule. I've talked about that before in a couple other videos. So it does have a different sound profile and a different MSRP. So this has an MSRP of $289. It's significantly more expensive, but the design, the physical dimensions in the design are exactly the same. So you can use the same shock mount, same pop filter, same windscreens, but across both microphones. This is the Lewitt LCT440 Pure.
Do you know how to do the Macarena?
That's what you're going to say. I don't know.
You knew that's what I was going to say. You're how...
I don't know, because it's dut, hey, right?
No. The hips. Yeah, you can't forget the hips.
Forgot the hips, sorry.
Okay, explain to me how every kid knew how to do that without having MTV.
But we did have MTV.
Was that how we all learned it?
I mean, that was just like a #1 song on the radio, which is...
Yeah, but that's not showing you the moves. So I'm curious as to how this became like a thing that we all knew how to do.
Even weirder.
Like the Cupid whatever, it tells you what to do, step to the left,
shuffle,
step to the right. Yeah, but this is in Spanish.
But kids still know how to do the Macarena. Like, we see it at sports games.
Yeah,
like, a 9-year-old will stand up and do the Macarena. It's like, you were born in 2012? What year is it?
Yeah.
And you know how to do this. That's crazy. Wait, no. 2014 is a 9-year-old. Ew. Okay, anyway. Lewitt LCT440 Pure. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the Neat King Bee 2, which is a neat microphone because it sounds really great. And it's relatively affordable. It's a condenser with an MSRP of $169. I have not done a separate video for this, even though I've had it for like over a year at this point. I think this is kind of an underrated microphone. Neat relaunched their B series microphones, but I feel like they haven't really gotten that much attention since then. It's a really good one. I should probably include it in a video at some point. It's a cool style. It's relatively affordable. It does rival the Procaster as potentially the heaviest one, and it comes with a pretty heavy duty shock mount as well. And I'm also using the pop filter that is included with it. So this is the Neat King Bee 2.
So I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really been paying attention to the sounds of the mics.
Oh, do you like that one or not like that?
This one caught my attention when you were talking. Yeah, because I was just been thinking about what I'm gonna say, but I was like, oh wow, I actually like how this one sounds. But this is a heavy boy.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool thing about Neat is the company was originally founded by the founders of Blue. So when they left Blue, They started a new
Oh,
microphone
I think I knew
company.
that. You told me that.
Then they sold it to, I think Turtle Beach owns it now, but then the founders of Blue came back to be on the board, so they're still involved with the microphones and the relaunch of all the models and stuff.
Do you remember Michael J. Frog?
Oh, I think I say Fox, and yes, Michael J. Frog. Is that the WB guy?
It is.
Like the...
He had a hat and a cane.
The dancing...
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his name.
I didn't either, but well, because I was looking at 90s things online. But when I read that, I was like, oh yeah.
We used to sing that song like, "Hello, my baby." Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the neat King B2, which is the last of the XLR microphones that we're going to be using, and now we're moving on to USB only microphones. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And as we move into USB microphones, I will be recording everything directly into Adobe Audition, but again, with no processing, no EQ or anything like that. This microphone that you're listening to me on right now is the Sennheiser Profile, my favorite USB only microphone. I've talked about it a lot. It's a new one. I really like it for a lot of reasons. I think it sounds awesome. It also has the most physical controls, and you don't need any apps. You don't need anything to just use this microphone to its full potential. And it has an affordable MSRP of $129. So this is the Sennheiser Profile.
We've talked about the light bright throughout a relationship.
Okay,
at some point, we've brought it up, and we were like, wow, that was a cool thing.
It was.
What we haven't talked about, not even once, I don't think, was, do you remember the Viewmaster?
I just thought of the Viewmaster the other day. Viewmasters were amazing.
They were so cool, but then it makes me think, like, dang, we had to go out of our way and pay for a thing to see 10 new pictures, and now people can see that in the palm of their hand in 10 seconds every day, every hour, all the time. Like, talk about the amount of info. You know, when we talk about how much info people are consuming exponentially.
Stuff coming out for like the Vision Plus goggles or whatever, people were like, "Oh, do you remember the Viewmaster?"
Yeah, the Viewmaster was so cool. It was like so cool to get a new like white disc thing.
Be sure to point it at a bright light source, otherwise you
don't see anything.
So dull. Yeah. All right, Sennheiser Profile. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. You want to say the same thing?
And this is me on the PodMic USB. I'm Heather, and I'm on the PodMic USB.
And now you're listening to me on the Rode NT USB Plus, which has an MSRP of $169. I also really love the way that this microphone sounds. My biggest and really my one gripe with this microphone that you might remember from my video on it is that it does not have a physical gain dial, which just is sort of a hassle because you have to go into your computer settings and your audio settings to then, use the microphone and bring it in. But otherwise, this is a really great USB microphone. And I'll be honest, when the PodMic USB was announced, I was kind of hoping it would lean more towards this sort of a sound profile versus the original PodMic. I know it's dynamic versus condenser, but I think this is such a full, rich, smooth sounding microphone, and it sounds good on pretty much every voice.
Okay, so you know what thing I'm actually surprised has lasted this long that I think started in the 90s? Maybe it started earlier. But Lunchables.
Oh.
Okay. I'm surprised it's still a thing, despite how much, nutrition and the conversation around what we eat
I wonder what's included.
has lasted.
Are they the same, or is it like
I don't know.
Healthables or something?
I don't know. I never got Lunchables. I really wanted to.
No, it was not.
You didn't get Lunchables either?
That was not for I had.
It was such an American thing, and I was like, oh, I want.
Yeah, it was a normal kid thing. And I wanted to be a normal TV kid.
No, my mom would make me like Filipino food. Yeah, and I would get made fun of because it smelled.
Oh, did you know there's a whole series of books coming out now that are called What's That or What Are You Eating or something, and it's like kids books about different types of foods that other kids might bring to school.
This was so needed 30 years ago. It's funny because charcuterie is just adult Lunchable.
Yeah, and way more expensive. Okay, we're going to jump to another microphone, but I want to continue this thought there.
You do?
Yes. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is the classic Blue Yeti, about $99 MSRP. This is a pre-Logitech Blue Yeti. This is Heather's Blue Yeti because it's a little more reliable than mine after I took mine apart, although I think mine is kind of okay. I did a whole video about the Blue Yeti last year and kind of diving into its history and its perceptions and things. But the thing I wanted to bring up from our discussion about Lunchables was that I didn't get those, but there was a brief period of time where Jimmy Dean had something called Tastefuls, and it was like Jimmy Dean, like the sausage company. It was kind of like a version of Lunchables, but I thought they had like little like sandwiches, little like sub rolls, little baguettes in there, and you can make a little tiny sandwich. But like rolls and mustards and meats and chips and some kind of sweet. And I really, really love. I have such vivid memories of Saturday mornings watching Nicktoons and eating Jimmy Dean Tastefuls. Yeah. It's heavily associated with like Rocco's Modern Life and Tastefuls.
Saw something in a grocery store, did not believe it. A couple of crackers, a little meat, cheese. They called it a lunch. It's not a lunch. Jimmy Dean Tastefuls, that's a lunch. 2 hearty sandwiches, Oreo cookies, Fritos, corn chips. Tasty, full meals.
Hello. Oh, there it is. Oh, man. I have a video of me speaking into this thing for the first time, and I have like the biggest smile on my face because it was just like so cool.
Your voice sounds good on every microphone.
Well, thank you. Well, I disagree. I can listen to your voice on anything. Yeah. Okay, so that brings me to my next point. The one thing I was going to ask you is like, what was your favorite show as a kid? And I think I have many. Like I remember Doug was like a very, important show to me. But the one I think that stands out the most as being like, okay, if this was my favorite, maybe it is a tie with Doug because I really like Doug. You kind of remind me of Doug now that I think about it.
I'm okay with that, I guess.
Batman the Animated Series.
Oh.
God, I love that show so much. One episode you haven't even seen.
I think I've seen 1 or 2 episodes, but
oh my God, it's so good.
No, you've also never seen my favorite movie.
I know. 6 years we've been together. I haven't seen Tommy Boy. Sorry. We should make some time to watch that. Yeah.
Yes, we should. It's like 89 minutes.
I know.
My favorite show? I mean, easy. Simpsons. No question.
Okay, so you know what I haven't seen a single episode of? Is The Simpsons. I know.
Or Bob's Burgers or King of the Hill.
It's just not my type of shows. I'm sorry. I can't get past the animation style.
And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. This microphone kicks off a couple of interesting ones that were requested in the post that I mentioned. This is the Rode Videomic Go II. So this is a $99 video microphone that's intended to go on your camera, and then you run a 3.5 millimeter cable to it. But it can also be used as a USB-C microphone, and that could actually be kind of cool because there's a lot of people who use video mics and might want a USB microphone, but maybe they don't want to invest in both. And this is the least expensive option. It does have a headphone output, which I'm using right now, but there's no way through the mic to adjust the headphones, and it is hurting my ears so much. But this is the Rode Videomic Go II.
So even though we're the same age, we were different classes.
Yes.
So you were class of 2000.
4.
No, well,
I started high school in 2000. Wait, what?
I was class of 99 in 8th grade.
Why is 8th grade the year?
8th grade graduation? That's a thing.
Yeah, but it's not usually the first.
Because 90s kids are talking about the 90s.
Yeah. I was 2000. June 8th, 2000 was my middle school graduation.
Okay, you would talk about, you remember the actual June 8th? Jeez. Okay, my question is, what was your feeling around Y2K? Like, did you actually think that there was going to be some kind of disaster? Or what was the feeling where you were, right? Like in your world? Because I know that we bought a lot of water. Okay. I didn't actually think anything was going to happen, but I remember being like, there was preparation and water, like getting water was included in that process.
I'm going to answer that question on a different mic so we can hear it
more
comfortably. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And now I wanted to take that same concept with the Rode Videomic Go II one step further and go to the Videomic NTG, which is really my favorite of the non-dedicated Sony video mics that are like, hot shoe specific. But the Videomic NTG, which was my main out-of-frame boom mic for several years, this has an MSRP of $249. It has internal batteries, so it has more gain. It does have a physical gain dial on the back, which, when you use it as a USB mic, becomes the volume control for your headphones. So it's really nice. And you've got some filters. You've got high-pass, low-pass filters, backup recording channels, all that kind of stuff. And I do think while the Videomic Go II at less than half the price does not sound half as bad. They're very similar in sound quality. I think this microphone sounds really, really good. And compared to the Sennheiser MKH50 $1,200 microphone, it definitely doesn't sound $1,000 worse than the Sennheiser does. So this is the Videomic NTG Y2K. We did no preparation. I don't think so. I don't think so. I remember being excited about it, being nervous with it, but my best friend and I, over that Christmas break in winter of 1999, we spent 2 weeks working on a short film called Y2K, and it was like this weird...
Okay, you need to find this and put a clip of it in here right now.
I will.
I am billionaire Bill Gates. I'm not stupid. You are lying to me, and now you will pay.
Wasn't that great? The premise was that Bill Gates, something to do with Bill Gates, was causing Y2K, and then of course like an FBI agent had to stop. It was like a mix-up between Austin Powers and The Matrix and like every generic action movie from the 90s, but it was filmed by 12-year-olds with no budget, and because we couldn't edit on computers because that wasn't really a thing at the time, I think our VHS transfers, I think we transferred it like 9 times back and forth.
So it was real
You can't even
local.
see what's happening on screen, but we tried to add in music, and to film the credits we just had to use Microsoft PowerPoint, like PowerPoint 1.0, and just turn off all the lights and film the CRT computer monitor, so there's like a flicker on the credits and
That's
stuff.
Like really cute though.
And we worked so hard on
I
it.
appreciate the resourcefulness.
We had a whole premiere and everything. So anyway, here, I'll let you do this one.
Do you remember edible jewelry? That was a thing in the 90s.
Like candy necklaces?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that. Was that it, or like a ring pop?
Oh, both. Yeah, because that's not a thing anymore.
There was only 2 things. Are ring pops things?
I haven't seen a ring pop. I mean, how
it's
would I
sad.
see a ring pop? But
I
like,
never had one as a kid, but I always wanted one because it looked like such a
but
cool
I remember
ruby.
edible jewelry was such a thing. Like it was. You remember puka shells?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that. It was like everyone had like their necklace or whatever,
So
which is so
sticky,
disgusting.
gross.
Yeah, because it's just, and then you just suck on it.
I do remember jawbreakers being a big deal, and kids would bring like the big jawbreakers and just have them in like a bag, and it's all licked off and gross, like halfway licked through.
I don't know, it's so gross.
And then everyone had bloody tongues because they had like rough textures. Anyway, Rode Videomic NTG. And now I'm back on the PodMic USB. This is what I sound like on the PodMic USB. And this is our last USB microphone, but in the video mic category. This is the Deity V-Mic D4, which also has an MSRP of $99, just like the Rode Videomic Go II, but has the physical gain dial of the Videomic NTG at less the price, but it doesn't have all the fancy like filters and things like that. But it does run on batteries, and it has a very different sound profile, and it can be used as a USB-C microphone. So this is the Deity V-Mic D4.
Well, I just want to say that it was fun being
you
able
for
to reminisce on all these 90s things. I wish we could have met as 90s kids. I feel like we would have been best friends. We could have made movies together. How
That
fun.
would have been really fun.
I know. Well, now we're doing that now.
Yeah, it's literally what we're doing right now. We could have done this then too.
That would have been cool.
It would have been cool. So Deity V-Mic D4. So to wrap things up, we are back on the PodMic USB, running in through XLR to the Rodecaster Duo, and this is what that sounds like. I did talk a lot about this in the full review, but if we go in here, right now we're doing no effects and no processing on all of these microphones. And if I turn on, I did make a little PodMic preset. So this is just the PodMic USB with no effects and no processing. And now this is with a little bit of my processing that I turned on to kind of tame some of those harsh high ends, add a little low end. There's some noise cancellation or noise reduction going on. So this is the sound I've been using with the PodMic for live streams and podcasts. I've been trying to spend as much time as I can with it since I've gotten it.
So this is the full circle. We're done. We're ending. This is the end of the
Wrapping it up.
video.
Yeah.
Man, it's been a journey. I didn't realize
my
that
God.
this was going to be
I didn't either.
an hour and a half.
This was supposed to be a small segment in another video.
Halfway through the video, Tom was like, "This is going to be its own video." I love doing this with you. It was fun.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And speaking of things I appreciate, thank you to everyone who helps support my channel through Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. And if you want to know more about the details of the PodMic USB, be sure to check out my full review right here.